Hey everyone, so this is my response for the Are You Listening forum. The first question asks, what, if anything, surprised you above your score? Well, I think first and foremost, I should just mention that I scored in the excellent range. I got a 21, which is considered excellent listening skills. I'm kind of not surprised that I got the score, but at the same time, I'm kind of surprised that there are some things that I didn't really score really well on and that I do often, that's kind of a habit and probably a bad habit. So what are your listening strengths? Well, some of my strengths on listening are, so I guess I should just lead off the statement here. So I do find that listening to others is interesting. So ultimately, I don't find it uninteresting. So usually when I listen to someone, I kind of hear them out. Sometimes I do interject. I guess that's one of my weaknesses. So I see another one here that it says you listen only what is easy to understand. Well, I never do that actually. Kind of like to listen to everything and kind of decipher what I understand and what I don't understand. And if I have questions, I ask questions. I guess this weakness of mine would be asking questions in the middle. So like when I hear something that I don't necessarily understand, I would ask a question for clarification, but that's probably in the middle. You seldom save it to the end, unless I'm kind of like in a classroom setting when the professor is speaking. I'm kind of listening and doing my own thing. And then I just save my questions. I write down the notes, and I just save my comments and questions towards the end. So I'm quick to disagree with. You are quick to find things to disagree with, so you stop listening as you prepare your argument. I kind of do that. There are times that I just stop listening at a certain point when I disagree with something, and I kind of just instill in my mind, like, oh my god, I gotta say something in this sentence right now. I gotta like interject and kind of butt in and say, hey, I think this and this, and I think this and this is wrong, and I think this and this is why. Kind of present an argument. I guess another strength of mine is that I guess my attention span is very long, not short. So I think that I do hear people out. And so I know how to keep a conversation going if need be. I can just talk and talk and talk and talk, kind of like I'm doing now. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next question. So what are your listening challenges? I kind of already discussed this. I guess one of my challenges is I'm not easily distracted. Challenge would be, so as soon as someone says anything that you think reflects negatively on you, you defend yourself. Yeah, I do that. If someone kind of tells me I'm doing something wrong, or like for example in the fitness center, the other day I was doing flies. Guy was giving me constructive feedback and I was all for it. But he was telling me I'm doing it totally wrong, and I was telling him that what I'm doing is kind of targeting a different set of muscles, a different set of my pecs. He was telling me, no, it's not going to work, it's not going to do this, but I kind of feel it working, and I kind of see results, and I've been doing it for a long time. It works for me. I do it both ways. He only observed me doing it one way, so I kind of defended myself. I started giving him this theory and this theory and this theory. Kind of had him like sit down and try for himself. Probably reference one of my textbooks. I usually do that. Kind of reference Boyle's textbook on principles of athletic conditioning. And also, let's see. So how could you improve on the listening skill components you scored low on? Well, I think that I can improve on the listening skills that I scored low on is by just being mindful of them and practicing them. And I mean, kind of staying away from the habits, because you got to be like, okay, Jacob, you got to stop yourself in the middle of a sentence. I mean, don't stop them. Just, save your thoughts to the end. Sometimes don't really defend yourself. They're trying to give you constructive feedback, and, just listen to them and, hear them out. They're trying to help you. So I guess got to be like less defensive in that term. And then it says, the Bible offers many verses about listening and speaking. Consider the ones offered below. Which ones can you apply to improve the listening skill? So I think that I could apply all of them. See, so one of them it says, always be willing to listen than to speak. Keep control of your anger. Yeah, well, I don't really get angry much, but I still think it's a good thing to keep in mind. Try to be mindful and understanding. Don't be angry at other people just because they're giving a different viewpoint than you are. Probably learn it in academia when there's going to be colleagues that are going to have different opinions. I remember I took a class in grad school, in film school, when I was in New York, and one of my colleagues really disagreed with the professor, and they went at it in class. And she got up and she left. She just straight up left. I mean, this guy was, he was well known in the film industry, and he was a writer. He met with a lot of filmmakers, and he kind of knew what he was talking about, and he has a lot of references, and he taught comparative literature at Queens College in New York. So, I mean, he knew the French language like the back of his hand, a lot of it, and I guess she disagreed with a certain term that he was using, and she just left the room, and, the way he defined it was improper. I don't know, it was not even a big deal, but she just got upset and she left. And then the second proverb says, if you stop listening to instruction, you will keep making stupid mistakes. Well, yeah, I believe that's true. I guess you gotta keep listening to instructions, follow instructions. I guess we learned that in physical education. I mean, how important is it to follow through with instructions, listen to our instructors and what they're saying and what they're doing, kind of listen to our coaches and our athletic trainers, because they have the best interest in mind. Also, I think it's important to listen to our bodies. That's probably for a different topic, but I think that when we eat something, for example, and we don't feel well afterwards, we have to say, oh my God, okay, we got to stay away from this food, and eat the right types of food that make us feel good about ourselves and our bodies feel well. So I think, let's see, the next question says, when you talk, don't say anything bad, but say the good things that people need. Whatever will help them grow stronger. Then what you say will be a blessing to those who hear you. Well, I think that it's important to listen to our instructor. Not listen to our instructors, but listen to everything that everybody's saying. Kind of take it into account. Don't say anything bad about them. I mean, try to, if there's constructive feedback you need to give, try to say it in a nice manner. Don't be the person that, is arrogant and, goes up to the person and say, oh my God, so you're doing this wrong and you're doing this wrong. Because, I remember I took volleyball once and there was a guy who was just like that. He was awful. He was loud. He was obnoxious. He always wanted to say something bad. I don't agree with that. And the next one says, fools don't want to learn from others. They only want to tell their own ideas. And I think that's true. I think that, a fool doesn't want to hear others' opinions. I think that in academia we see that, there's some theorists who go, okay, you're totally wrong on this and you're totally right about this. I think one of our, candidates for president, I'm not even going to get into that, but he's like that. You probably know who he is. Just really close-minded. He always has his way of thinking. And then the next one asks to answer before listening. That is a folly and shame. So I'm actually guilty of that. I always kind of answer before I listen sometimes. In a classroom setting, I don't do that. In classroom settings, I actually save my questions and answers towards the end. But when I'm doing a conversation, I kind of do jump to conclusions and stuff like that. And yeah, that's it for this discussion.